Hey everybody, it's GauntletX, and welcome back to another early access draft of Bloomburrow. Thanks again to Wizards of the Coast who've provided me with this early access promotional account, and without further ado, let's hop into the draft. This will be our final quick draft of the set. We're in quick draft queues instead of premier draft queues, because it has been over 12 hours of the early access event now, so it is the middle of the night, and they want to make sure that we can still get these draft queues firing. So I think objectively we're supposed to just take this very nice squirrel rare here. It's going to ramp into our bigger cards and search for our best squirrels from our deck. You know, I have played plenty of the different archetypes now. I've played more than half of the different creature types. I think I will give up on my playing a different creature type every single draft plan here, now that I've only got like 3 or 4 left to choose from. If I do a different one each time, we'll just take the great rare and maybe play squirrels again. For pick number 2, I don't see any cards that I consider very good for the squirrel deck, but the Longstalk Brawl could be okay. The Paw Patch formation could be okay. Draw a card, get a food at worst. I really like the Heartfire hero for Valiant decks. Every time it becomes the target of a spell or ability you control, it gets a +1/+1 counter. So a 1-drop that can frequently attack as a 2/2 or 3/3 later in the game. Pretty impressive for its mana cost. Kind of want to just take Heartfire Hero and be open to heading in that direction. Pick number 3. Just an okay squirrel here with the Corpseberry Cultivator or the Daggerfang duo. Not overly impressed by those. Got a very nice hexproof trick with the Plume-Creed Escort and a super solid removal spell out of red with Blooming Blast. Or 1 card deep into red could go for the Blooming Blast. I have enjoyed this. Can finish people off with that 3 damage, and it is fine, efficient removal up front. I think Escort's definitely stronger though, but this can get us in the Heartfire hero direction, which is a nice spot to be. Let's still just take the Escort. Card is great. Pick number 4. Tree Guard duo sticking to greens. Card's okay. Druid of the Spade can be a 3-mana 4/3 trample if you've got any tokens on board. So a 1/1 Offspring or Rabbit token, or a food token as well. Raccoon Rallier is good at triggering Valiant every turn, so we can just sit there with the Raccoon and keep targeting our Heartfire hero, which is cute. Or we can go Black-Red Lizards for the card engine, but Black-Red has seemed like the weakest archetype. Although we could try playing around with it here. Their Heartfire hero. Yeah, there's nothing huge for any specific deck. I'll be open to the Lizard path. And a pick 5 Tidecaller Mentor could be a sign for the Rat path. A 3-mana 3/3 menace, not bad. And if you have Threshold, so if you top deck this late in the game, you get to bounce whatever you want. We're probably supposed to just take Bushy Bodyguard though. Our second card towards squirrels. And this is good for any green deck, really. 2 mana for a 2/1, but if you forage when you play it, exile 3 cards from your grave, or sack a food, then it's a 2 mana 4/3, or 4 mana for a 4/3 and a 3/3. Pretty busted. This card seems like the strongest in the pack. We'll just stick to green off that card. Pick 6 Wandertail Mentor, or Honored Dray Leader. A little bit of a turning point here. We can commit to squirrels even though we haven't really seen good black cards off the Dray Leader, or we can try heading in the green-red direction, go for some raccoons, try to cast a bunch of mana value 4 greater spells, and expend 4 mana in our turns a lot. Then we're starting with 2 mana dorks towards high mana value stuff, a Thornvault Forager and a Wandertail Mentor, and just by being in green, this can already search for other squirrels. We're going to have a couple random ones, even if we're a green-red raccoon deck. I like that idea. Let's go for red-green ramp, starting with 2 2-drop mana dorks. Feels like a good spot to be, and that lets us keep playing our Heartfire hero in the deck. Then we get to take this Blooming Blast here. Get to pick 8 all green and red cards. That's very nice to see. The Rust Shield Rampager has been a pretty impressive late-game threat. It can't be chump blocked, and it can come with a little 1/1 body alongside it if you want, although the Teapot Slinger is hitting that expend mechanic, dealing 2 to our opponent while we're casting our spells. We'll go for the uncommon. Go for the cards we have less opportunities to play around with, as this is the early access event still. We'll try to find out what is strictly the best card and take only those later on once the set is out and we're actually trying to grind up the ranked ladder and all that. I like Playful Shove, I think it's fine. Stack it up to finish up a creature post-combat. We did wheel the Paw Patch formation, which is fine, it's flexible. Now, Corpseberry Cultivator or... Ooh, give one of your creatures haste with this? Seems like one of the better of these lands. I really hate that they tap for colorless for non-creature spells. I would rather they just like come to play tapped. But they have to have some kind of downside to not just be like way better than a mountain. Yeah, we'll try the village. 12. I don't think we have any tokens right now for this Druid of the Spade. We have one offspring with the Bushy Bodyguard. This will probably be kind of bad. Although Cash Grab will probably be kind of bad too. I guess it goes in for now. Pack 2, pick 1. Love this card. Bark Knuckle Boxer, 2 mana, 3/2 on curve, and if you've expended 4 mana on spells, then it's indestructible for the swings later on in the game. Just above rate up front, and then it gets even grosser later. I guess I've got a lot of 2 mana stuff to do already, though. Only 3 of those are creatures. 2 of them are mana dorks, though, right? So, like, we want to just play a mana dork early and then ramp it to an early crazy 5-drop like Quake Tusk Boar. Yeah, maybe with 2 mana dorks in the deck already, the Boar is a little better than the Boxer. Which is weird, because I think they're both incredible cards, but yeah. 2 mana ramp cards, we'll take the Boar. Pack 2, pick 2, we'll also take out the trash and blow some stuff up. Pack 2, pick 3. Oak Hollow Village, I think, is the strongest of the non-basic lands, but it's particularly good with rabbits, because that's the easiest deck to end up putting like 3 rabbits on the board in one turn. If you play this with the 5-drop that makes a 3/2 and 2 1/1s, just boom. That's a 4/3 and 2 2/2s. Insane board. We could just take the Baker's Bane duo here. It's a squirrel, it's giving us the food, it works really well with our Thorn Vault Forager for that reason, works really well with our Bushy Bodyguard. Because again, this is very good when you're playing multiple of the creature type in the same turn, but the fact that it is only colorless for the spells is painful. Yeah, I'll take the duo. If we wheel the village, I'll still run it. We'll see how the bots draft it. Pick 4. Rampager looks fine. I think Recruiter's good in a lizard deck, but not very good otherwise, because it only steals power 2 or less stuff. And Cultivator's kind of whatever. When we're not specifically green-black. I'll take Rampager over another village, maybe wheel those. Pick 5. We are a Raccoon Expend deck, so Brambleguard Veteran giving our whole board +1/+1 Vigilance could be big. Let's go for it. And Conduct Electricity is an instant speedway to expend 4. You can only expend 4 during your turn by spending mana on spells, but you can do it in the middle of combat if you use cast an instant. So I do think like 1 copy of Conduct Electricity can play well in these decks. Instant speed, blow up a blocker, expend out of nowhere. But Veteran looks awesome here. We have 4 raccoons. This will be our 5th. It buffs itself with the +1/+1 Vigilance. Let's go. Pick 6, we got a Bark Knuckle Boxer, and that's another raccoon. Perfect. Pick 7, here's another raccoon that ramps into the 5-drops and stuff early. Lets us expend quicker. Pick number 8, here's another raccoon. It's a filler one, but whatever. Pick 9, another Cash Grab and a Wear Down. Not going to main deck a Wear Down, we'll grab Cash Grab. Pick 10, some random ramp, or the Squirrel Warrior when we don't have a lot of food or squirrels. We have, well, 4 squirrels. I don't look like I'm getting rampy enough to want the Heaped Harvest that badly. Take the Dray Leader. Hidden Grotto. We didn't wheel any of the green lands. Looks like the bots take them highly. Never mind. We got that one. And I'll play it. Alright. Pack 3, pick 1. We got an on-color mythic and an off-color mythic. The off-color mythic is insane. 5 mana, 6/5 flying trample. Your opponent has to 2-for-1 themselves to target it. They have to discard a card and cast their removal spell. And all their creatures have base toughness 1. So your 1/1s can trade into anything on your opponent's board. That is absolutely filthy. But it's off color and Season of the Bold is not. So we'll take this. So this is 5 mana. Essentially we can draw 4 cards and get a tapped treasure. We have to play all 4 of those cards in our next turn. But that is huge card draw. We'll still play the Season of the Bold over drafting another Bark Knuckle Boxer here. Pack 3, pick 2. Raccoon Rallier. 3-tree Scribe. We're not doing any flickering or bouncing for the Scribe. This is just a 2 mana 2/3 on curve if we want it. So I suppose we just take the Raccoon for that reason and grab the on-color creature, or we could take the Fixing. This is a green source or a red source, but it hits the board tapped. I'll take the Raccoon. Polywallop's a bit expensive. We're not going to have any frogs. So 4 mana instant. But that means we've expended 40 cast it. So probably just as good as Conduct Electricity here. It is weak to instant speed removal from our opponents, but it seems decent for green removals standards. Another Brazen Collector here. Ramping into the 4-drops like nobody's business. I am going to go ahead and, because I've got all these mana dorks, just say that Bushy Bodyguard is definitely a 4-drop every time. Brazen Collector is definitely better than Junkblade Bruiser, but I want a couple more beefy creatures to expend my 4 or 5 mana into. I guess I've got beefy spells to do that with Season of Bold and Polywallop. Yeah. I think this just looks like an incredible stat line. I'm going to take it there. There we go. There's 5 mana to expend. We'll get a 3/2 and 2 1/1s and then win the game if we have Oak Hollow Village on board. Pick 6. Another playful shove. Pick 7. We got a Junkblade Bruiser. Beautiful. Looking for another 4/5 drop here. Pick 8. Rabid Gnaw's another good one. Buff our board a little bit and clear something out. Just like a better Polywallop. Triggers all your Valiant cards as well. If you're a Mice deck, you're super happy with it. Here's another Raccoon. And it's a very good one. Alright, let's build this deck. Look at all the 2 mana stuff. Oh my god. Alright. Heartfire Hero. Did we hit any synergies to go with it? We have the Raccoon Rallier that we took, but I'm kind of wanting to cut that with just the sheer quality of our other 2-drops. I'm always just going to play a Mana Dork or a 2 mana 3/2 or 2/1 First Striker or something there. And then Baker's Bane Duo could be a cut too. Just because I have so many other just better 2-drops. Yeah. So no 2-drops that synergize with it. Yeah, I'm not targeting my own creatures very often at all. It's just for the, like, not Blooming Blast, Rabid Gnaw and Polywallop. So Heartfire Hero ended up just being a cut. As did the 2-drops for sure. We have 5 squirrels and a changeling for our Honored Dray Leader. Could leave it in for mana curve purposes. But I technically have 2 2-drops that skip over our 3 mana plays and start playing 4-drops on turn 3, and 2 other ones with these Brazen Collectors. If our opponent doesn't have a 1/3 blocker on board, then this can function the same as these 2 and get us to a 4-drop on turn 3. So maybe the game plan is to just skip 3 drops generally, cut the 3 squirrels, and just have the raccoon lord there, and just skip through that spot of the curve. And then we need to cut no more creatures. That's 14 creatures here. Just have all these mana value 4 or greater things to expend mana onto, which looks good. Drop like the cash grabs. Probably the least synergistic non-creature spells in this deck. Yeah, I'll drop triple cash grab and keep the formation for flexibility, and I guess we'll put the other raccoon back in. The other 3-drop raccoon, the harvester thing. 2/3 reach, give us a little bit more defense against flyers, I guess. Or we put the cultivator back in. I'm definitely not putting Dray Leader back in. Cultivator or Bark Form Harvester. Technically, Veteran's the only card that actually cares about specifically being raccoon creatures in this deck. Right? And I already have so many for that. 9? Yeah, I guess I'll go for the Cultivator then. Something that can level up over time and stay pretty large and relevant, potentially. Just exiling random instants and sorceries we've been casting from grave, any creatures that have traded off. We're not foraging a ton here, but probably still can do it enough to make this better than a 2/3 reach with no other abilities. Alright, red-green raccoons is the deck this time around, and we managed to play a different creature type every single draft. Feels pretty fun, feels pretty perfect. The mana base is a pretty even split, slightly in green's favor, and that's already been done automatically for us. Let's just hop into the gameplay. Alright, here we are on the play with a Snap Keep. We have the game plan of the 2-drop that makes mana into a 4-drop turn 3. And it's an aggressive one too, it's one we get to send in. Make sure I have my red for my non-creature spell too. I'll play this the turn that I actually want to give something haste. Or I'll just play it as the last land that we play. So turn 5 is when we'd want to do it. We could play this for 4 and use this. No, this costs like 2 mana to actually use. It's actually just pretty bad. The Raccoon Mirror Match. But we're going to start slinging some teapots. Scalding tea right into your face. Take your tea back, you jackanapes. Uh-oh. So our opponent has infinite mana. Playful Shove plays decently for us here. We get to expend 4 this turn. I just don't get to play the Rampager yet. Yeah. Oh no, oh my god, I tapped out a green and then I top decked the forest. Never didn't have it. We're so fine. We're actually so in it here. Oh, thank you, top deck. Six mana to make the offspring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can do that and not get any haste here. I'd have to do it post-combat, though, as well. And I can't give the haste, even if I play this as 4 pre-combat, because I don't get this mana until after I've declared the attack with this. So then I'd have my red floating to tap the village to give this haste. Dang. Big Sword has arrived. And the Mentor's already a 4/4. You can give me a fish so that the Wild Guide's a 5/5 on blocks. And yeah, they are sturdy over there. I don't see any profitable attacks. Which means we're just waiting to get the offspring from the Rampager then. Yeah, now we sit here and stare at each other and I just try to cast enough spells to eventually have cast or expended for 6 times. Alright. This game has slowed down to a grinding halt off of that sword. Four, 4, and a 5/5 already. 6 mana up here. It's gonna be some blocks. This artwork is so hilarious. Look at the little mice just, oh my god, get out of here! God, I love this set. Oh, Rabid Gnaw, my shooter. Oh no, and Hunter's Talon. That is my recommendation for Mythic Uncommon of the format. Card is stupid good. So up front, 2 mana, one of your creatures deals damage equal to its power to another creature would already be a really high pick as just a cheap removal spell out of green. And then it also gives your board trample to win any board stall, and then it also draws you an extra card every turn later. It's just incredible. Take out the trash. It's too late here. They've got the counters and the swords on everything by now. If I attack into the Wild Guide, try to first strike plus take out the trash, they can still just +1/+1 counter it anyway. We are just going to get our creatures. Start dying to the Hunter's Talent. Blacksmith's Talent's pretty good too. It's incredible in board stalls. Because you're going to turn this equipment into +1/+1 double strike. By the time you level 3 it. Oh my god. We're going to get completely demolished. Because now they just put like the sword onto this. Yeah, this equipment gives double strike too, so both of these are going to be giving double strike once this goes to level 3. And then we're just like losing the game on the spot by then. I guess I get to take out the trash on the captain, which is pretty relevant. I think I should do it right now so I can discard a card, draw a card, and try to find something else. Just making sure they don't have a way to put a counter on that. They don't. So that certainly helps. Ooh, that certainly helps too. Whenever you cast a spell, it deals 2 to up to 1 creature. I'd have to cast 3 spells to kill one of their cards. No, we're just getting the treasure and exiling 4 cards then. Okay, Head of the Homestead can be... Oh, shoot, no it can't. I was gonna say, can be really helpful here. But they have the Wombo combo. So the Blacksmith's Talent is pretty scary by itself, but beatable. But when you have Hunter's Talent with it, you're giving Trample to your Double Striker. So Trample and Double Strike. They need to put 7 more mana into the Blacksmith's Talent, though. So they're just going to go on the Hunter's Talent and start drawing cards. Fair enough. Next turn, they could spend 7 on Blacksmith's Talent just by playing a land. And then they have Double Strike Trample Swings going. I will play with Season of the Bold. I guess I should Wandertail Mentor first so it gets the counters for playing the Head of the Homestead. I've got enough cards in Grave. I could get a 4-3 and a 3-3. Is a 4-3 and a 3-3 better than a 3-2 and 2 1-1s? That's 4 toughness total, and this is 6 toughness total. So the Bodyguard's actually better. Yeah. I can get a haste swing, but I don't have enough power to get through the 6/6s anyway. So we pass. If they want to play the long game, Hunter's Talent will win them that by drawing them an extra card every turn. If they want to play the quick game, Blacksmith's Talent will win that by Double Strike trampling through a ton of our board. I think our only path to victory here at this point would be maybe if we can top deck the raccoon that gives everybody +1/+1 vigilance. But that still only gives the raccoons +1/+1 vigilance. That would still be 4 of our creatures. But maybe a wide swing around the 2 blockers can barely get there. Yep, free equip. They both have double strike. One of them has trample. They can't afford to attack with both, though, so they just send in the 1/8 power double strike trampler. They can't afford to do that and not die on the crackback, I think. Just barely. But maybe I'm wrong. Okay, 6 power Quake Tusk Boar. Actually, not 6 power. We can't target that one with the village. So 5 power. Buffs my Mentor, though. Block. Block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It's our best bet. I guess we actually did have a lethal crackback here. If they attacked with a single 7/7. Okay. Really close. They assembled their own Embercleave combo, but luckily, since they did tap out all of their mana to not put any more blockers out or anything that turn, we had just enough creatures off of the top deck Giant Haster to get there. Although with Rockface Village on board, I guess if we top decked pretty much any raccoon, we probably could have found lethal on that, hasting that out. Super close though. I mean, those were terrifying together. Alright, here we are for game 2. We're doing our thing again. Turn 2 Mana Dork, turn 3 4-drop. This one is not very good to play immediately though. You want to draw this later so you can actually forge and draw the card. Or you want to be a dedicated squirrel deck where you have the food tokens immediately. Our opponent's on the play, so we also have to really hope our opponent doesn't have like a 3 mana 3/3 or 2/3 or something, because that'll just wall off the mana we can get from Collector. And that would be a big problem for this hand, considering it's a 4-drop and 2 5s. Playful Shove definitely helps the Collector out. Green-red mirror match again. I feel like I have not seen a ton of green-red raccoons and stuff. But now that I'm playing green-red raccoons, here we go. It's mirror time. Alright, discard a card, draw 2. Means nothing on board to block this Brazen Collector yet. Don't you dare shove my Collector. They did not shove my collector. Time for the saddest 4-drop on turn 3. Just a 2-4 reach and that's it. Alright, okay, you got that. No more 4-drop this turn. Shove the face to cycle here doesn't seem bad. We use some of our mana and get a second card engrave. 2 out of 3 for the forage. Try to draw into something else to play next turn. Yeah, just making sure we actually forage when we play the treetop sentries. Seems big. Steam Path Charger, the millisecond that I played my Playful Shove. That is the way things go. We did draw into our alternate 4-drop to play, which is definitely good. Roughshod Duo. That's gonna get shot for sure. Although now I can boar for the turn. Be playing the boar with no backup. But they can't play any non-creature spells right now. They have 1 colorless untap for non-creature spells. So they can double block one of these and the other is going to stick around and jam. This is so much damage, I'm just going to do it. They double block boar and get trampled a little bit. Take 3 from Slinger as well. I think this is worth the pressure. Even though we have these to really ruin double blocks later. Clear the board, put them to 12. We still have a 3-4 Menacer that pings them additional times. Junk Blade Bruiser. Well, Menace gets around that. And then I just play my own? Sure. They're down to 7. Facing a 6/6 Trampler next turn? Wolverine. Fight the Bruiser and just trade off here. Fight the Slinger actually would be really nasty, but they go for the counter. Because they want to have better blocks up. If they attack with Bruiser, they're definitely dead. If they don't, we might still be able to find lethal. Alright, Ripperoo. The best character in Crash Team Racing. We go... Cha-ching. Cha-ching. Hit for 1,000,000. Yeah. There's the concession, and that is 2-0 heading into Game 3. Mono green opener. We don't have a play till turn 4, and would be a forager without a way to forage. I guess I draw a card, make the food, forage the food away. We are on the draw towards red sources, but I really want double red. We're drawing an extra card off formation. I think you could keep this with the card draw, but I'm not particularly excited about this. In a deck with 4 2-mana dorks, I'd rather mulligan here and potentially get a hand with one of those. When we're going to be potentially stuck off of a color anyway. That's already an argument towards a mulligan. This is even worse. 3 forests, nothing till turn 4. Needs double red still. Mold of 5 it is. And this we're going to have to keep. Boxer into veteran in a dream. Sure. That's a 2-3 curve. If we just top deck great cards from there. Could work. Rabbit Gnaw's not a bad start. What's on the left here? Oh, it's the same as if you go right. Boros Mice. Start with the Warren Elder that can buff the whole board, which is pretty good. Thorn Vault Forager is not a bad draw, but not actually ramping at anything here. We'll just get the Boxer down. Boxer into Veteran into casting both of these in one turn would be pretty nasty. You get the Expend 4 trigger on both. Really hoping for a top deck land if we go that route. I don't think they block the Boxer here. This is very good with rabbit cards. And they have to worry about tricks. It's probably just 3 free damage. We will be sad if the Boxer dies, but I feel like our opponent is most likely not blocking. Yeah. I'm gambling. We are really hoping for the land here. Banishing Light Veteran. Well, now the land is less important because Expend 4 doesn't even technically do anything, but we hit the land, which is good. So I can Forager and Rabid Gnaw the host. I mean, I take 5 on the crackback. I'm just gonna keep getting damage and save the Rabid Gnaw to clear a path later. Definitely feeling the mulligan to 5 here already being out of action. Pathmaker gives them a card to play next turn. Oh, or they hit a 1-drop and play it right now. Luckily the 1-drop doesn't really matter, but still solid luck on the hit. Full defenses here. They play it safe. And then I can't really send in. This is an instant, right? Yeah. We've got reasonable blocks thanks to the instant. And if we don't have to cast it, we'll obviously just grab a squirrel with the Thorn Vault Forager. Still have one in the deck. 2 of them, actually. We've got the 3-drop and the 4-drop. Which are both kind of bad here. Because they both really want to forage, and we have nothing in our graveyard. Because I mean, we've only cast 3 spells all game. Actually 4. Rip. That'll get us. How's it going, Hugs? 5/5 trample plus draw 2 puts them 2 more cards ahead. They were already 2 ahead from the mole. Now they're 4 cards ahead. Oh, I've got the Bushy Bodyguard too. That one's pretty sweet. Still definitely worse when we're not foraging with it, but considerably better than these 2, I think. Okay, that's better than everything. Although I'm 1 mana off from the Rabid Gnaw if I go for this. I can hold it up and play the Bushy Bodyguard. Same time. They've got the 2/3 Haster and another Bell. It'll shoot us for 2 when they play it. Hopefully a bunch of bunnies keeps Hugs off of us. They can activate Warren Elder 1 time to make Hugs 6 toughness. But I can just double block with 2/3/2s. I mean, we're purely on the defensive now, hoping that our opponent just bricks on their future draws. There's the Battler. Oh god, what is that? Never seen that rare yet. 3 mana, 3/3 Menace. Whenever they expend 4, they can discard their hand to draw 2. That is super good. I want one of those in here. It's a Raccoon Rogue, too. Fly? Well, that's not good. Free kill. Trade. Trade. Take 5. Bushy Bodyguard into Rabid Gnaw Hugs is the play. Because I can make this 4 power, and then that makes it 5. I'd ideally like to have this Mana Dork still, so that even if I miss a land, I can get the Offspring and still do the Rabid Gnaw. Wait, I need 3 cards engraved for that. Am I going to have 3 engraved? I'm going to have 1, 2... I guess I need the Forager to die, because I need 3 cards engraved to Forage to make this a 4/3. To be big enough to kill Hugs. Yeah, so I mean I have to let the mana die then. We hit the land. Beautiful. Beautiful. Boom. And if their hand is just like a land here, then this is kind of stable. I can double block the Bartender and start swinging with a 4/3. If they just miss every turn, we're in the game. That is not a miss. That expends 4, draws them 2 cards, gives the Bartender +2/+2, so it's 5 power. I don't think they even want to attack win with it, though, because it's such a good card draw engine. Alright. They didn't miss. They got a draw 2. Alright, surprising attack. That probably means they top decked the combat trick, but nothing we can really do about it. One of the combat tricks in the format is like +2/+2 indestructible. So even if I block with my whole board, and that one is +2/+0 first strike, so also even if I block with my whole board. Well, I think that that last turn swing was really the correct line, getting everything off the board, getting the Hugs out of there. But then they immediately hit the 4-drop for the Bartender, and... Oh, it's a Barterer, not a Bartender. For the Barterer, they got the 4-drop, and then now they just take it over. They even top-decked the Elder, so now our blocks are horrible. We can't block this with 2 power. We need 3, because they buff the whole board. In fact, we're just dead, right? I guess not. I can chump everything and survive. Like, I can do that to kill that, and then I have to chump that and take 4, go to 1. Sadness on the stack. Alright, I've got a food token, so I guess I didn't need to block this aggressively. Really does not look like it matters, though. Suppose since I had the food token, this would be where we kill the Barterer instead. Block the Barterer with our entire board so that they can't expend 4 and draw more cards later. But then I have no creatures on board against 2 rabbits and a Warren Elder, and it's just all a very bad time. They're reading the Barterer again. It is only spells to expend. Cannot expend with abilities. Which I did not notice that for the first several drafts. There's a lot of little things I've been learning. One blocker. They have the mana to double buff with the Elder. Yeah, that's super dead then. Dang. First loss. Not terrible. Our first loss was our Mold of 5 game, and we still found some pretty solid lines there, like the clearing out most of the board turn. So not a bad showing from the deck, even if it is still a loss at 2-1, heading into Game 4. Alright, here we are for Game 4. We don't actually have a red source for either of these spells, which is very awkward. But we can top deck into it, and we can also forage later, maybe. I do not love it, but I am going to keep. And this is part of the big downside of these kind of cards, is being colorless for your non-creatures. Luckily, I immediately top decked it. Blue-black from our opponent. That is the Rats color pair. Seems like just a really controlling deck that tries to fill the grave with 7 or more cards and then takes over because all the threshold abilities start popping off once your grave is full. They've got 2 cards in grave already, looking pretty decent. I can poke for 2, or I can play a collector and a 2-drop. I think it's better to just poke for 2. Could actually play the collector and haste it. But then I have 1 mana sitting here doing nothing anyway. I guess it's 1 more damage, right? Wait, no, I need more red mana to do this. To haste the collector. Yep, I'm a doofus, don't mind me. I can't haste the collector without triple red on board. Because I need the 2 red to play it, and then 2 red to give it haste. 3/4. That's a brick wall. Collector can still attack into that. We could also polywallop it. I guess we just polywallop it if I don't draw anything else to do with my mana, and we did not draw anything else to do with our mana. Polywallop. Boop. Three tree mascot, let's go. Shove. Vanishing Light, goodbye Forager. They hit Collector? I guess they really don't like First Strike. Do I play it fast and play the Boxer, or do I play it for value and search for a squirrel? I'm 1 mana off from searching for a squirrel and shoving in the same turn, so I guess we play it fast. 4 to grab a squirrel. I do not have the forage cards engraved for this cultivator, so I'll just play the Boxer. Wave Rider, recast. A discard too? Sure. That's a 4/4. Blooming Blast can stack up into lethal on it, but it's awkward. I don't have 1 more red source. With 1 more red source, I just make Boxer 4 power attack and still have Blooming Blast up. Still feels best to just Boxer in there and search for a squirrel. Alright, no indestructible, sadly, because I cannot spend 4 mana on spells right now. I can spend 4 mana on this Forager ability. And I absolutely will. Sprayle 2, lose 2. I love those words. And draw 2. I could play the 4 mana 3/4 kind of stuff again. 4 mana 2/4 plus draw a card. It's pretty good. And it's pretty good. Five cards in grave. Can definitely draw a card off sentries. I can forage on one bodyguard. Lizard, mouse, otter, raccoons can get haste. Neither of these are those. They are just squirrels. They're not any duos that have both creature types. Grab the bodyguard. We'll go for big damage. Season of the Bold changes my plan, because now I can have the stuff to... Oh, I don't have double red without using Forager. Shoot. I strongly dislike that. I think I still Season of the Bold, though. I guess I get the bushy bodyguard at least, but alright, get the 4/3 and the 1/1 then. That was a super disappointing hit, but these 4 are out of the way. Very glad I did not try to do the 2 damage whenever I cast a spell thing. So I would have just failed. Hardcore. I guess I could have done like the 2 damage whenever you cast a spell and then also blast the Shucker. And hit 2 lands. Then I could get that out of the way, shoot them for 3, they're at 5, hit them with the Forager, they're at 4. Oh... Playful Shove does not matter on any of their cards right now. I can get a 4-drop Squirrel. I only have 2 cards in grave for it, though. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't have the mana to shove for this in grave and get a 4-drop Squirrel and cast the 4-drop Squirrel. So I'm just gonna shove the face and grab the Squirrel during their turn at instant speed, I suppose. That's not horrible, but it's also instant speed, so... Just chillin'. Five. And another one. Yep. Stuff is too big. And I don't have a raccoon to discard a card and draw a card right now. Still have double red up here. I'm out of squirrels in the deck, as we saw. So take out the trash plus rabid knock and kill 1/5/5. It's just not getting anywhere. Go to 12. Are you just gonna make me discard 2 again? Yep, discard 2, surveil 2. Just respond by killing what I can. And the only thing I can kill is the Mentor, unless I throw both of these at 1 card, then I can kill a 5/5. Just feels bad. And I guess I'm gonna lose both of them now anyway. Or I can lose one of them to shoot nothing. Not having expended here kind of sucks. Because then this just trades into the 2/4 if I haste it out. So I just don't. Maybe you just hold on to it there, so if you hit another 2-drop... No, you never hold on to it against this deck. 50% of their deck is discard spells. Okay, if you're not playing against a discard deck, maybe you're supposed to hold on to it there, so if you hit another 2-drop, you can play it and the other 2-drop, and then haste it out for the indestructible attack in that turn. Whereas now, if I hit another 2-drop, I'll only have expended 2 instead of 4. I don't know, it's an interesting little corner case. Alright. Well, we came out swinging pretty well, but the blue-black decks are pretty controlling. They can stabilize really well, and we had the world's worst season of all time. Just the Exile 4-land season of the Bold. That was really the swing that I think let our opponent stabilize, was that this just did literally nothing, and we could have played any of our other spells and been way happier. That was the turn that really gave them the time to stabilize. So some rough flood there gives our opponent more than the time they need to stabilize, and we're 2-2 heading into game 5. Here we are for game number 5. We're 2-2 right now, so these are some of the deciding games, and we're hitting forced mulligans here with great green spells, a double green spell, and 1.5 red sources. Sad day. Okay, this hand is significantly better. We just go Boxer into 4-mana Bodyguard to expend on both the Boxers. We ditch the 5-drop to get more likely to play the Bodyguard turn 4. And yeah, this looks great. I would not be surprised once the 17 lands data comes out if these just objectively lower your win rate because the amount of times that colorless mana matters for your non-creature spells versus the amount of times that you have 2 extra mana left over to do the thing. Village still seems like the best one because it's so insane with the rabbits. When you're getting like 3 or 4 creatures on the board for pretty cheap, it can do some gross stuff. But generally, the downside has really been felt with these spells. Another blue-black matchup, unfortunately, just running it right back. This seasonable can't be any worse than the last one, right? I mean, they have to play 0 discard for me to have a chance of casting this, right? Because I'm going to need to go land, bodyguard, and then they can exile this, and then I need to get another land off the top for this. If they play the 3 mana discard too, this is just going to get discard before I can cast it anyway. But if this is the only discard for the turn, we get to go land bodyguard as a guaranteed play next turn, get the double boxer swing. I think I have to just go with the guarantees here. That is painful. But, you know, discard tends to be significantly more painful when you've mulliganed. And we have mulliganed, sadly. Super efficient turn for our opponent. Their defensive speed is off the charts right now. Savor plus ditch our season. Pass from there. We do not find mana 5 even if we kept the season. Rabid Gnaw sounds like a horrible idea. Against 4 open mana, they just use a removal spell on whatever we target this on and completely counter it and kill our creature. So we just attack with Boxer then, I guess, which is kind of sad. This gets them to use a removal spell on the Boxer, so maybe Rabid Gnaw gets to actually resolve. Is this the 4-2 that gives -1/-1 when it hits the board? Their opponent sacks a creature with the greatest power among creatures they control. They've got a single black mana up now. Auto Tapper is a complete doofus in this format, so really, with these non-basics, make sure you are tapping your lands and not the Auto Tapper. Alright, they're infinitely far ahead on cards. But we got damage, and there's a card draw. I'll expend 4 pre-combat for Indestructible. Look at that. This is just going to be an exact repeat of last game. Feels like we gonna be really hurting for just having that one mulligan here. I have a raccoon on board. We do not play this land. I'm going to do this right now, so if I top deck another 2 mana instant, I can expend It's very unlikely, but I might as well. I'm just going to do this post-combat anyway. Alright. I'm still going to play the lands. They can't make me discard it if I top deck my 5-drop haste boar thing to kill them with. I think the SFX glitched again. Yeah, they did. Maybe I just attack all and see if they just let it through. Well, no, they have a food. Okay, it doesn't matter. Flasher to tap some stuff. We have no damage in here. Okay. Post-combat shove the face. They're at, what, 6 here, essentially? I don't think I have a 6-drop in the deck, right? Yeah, I'll hold on to this. Oh, I guess I've got the village, though. Yeah, I should have still played this, because we could draw, like, what, 3 mana creatures would need this land on board? 1, 2, 3, boom, boom. No, 4 mana creatures would need it. It's just a 3/2 for now. Surveil to fill the grave, and then there's that 5/5. It's literally just the same as last game. Just so close to pushing the damage, but just a card off because we mulliganed. And being up just one more card might have been being up the season. And then we could be casting the season here. Just exile something else. And the season would have been... Well, theoretically the season would have been the game winner here. But it could have been exactly like the last season of the past that we cast. It just been 4 lands. You never know. What up, looter? You are way too late, but at least you're a 3/3, I guess. They can just choose to specifically mill 2 to trigger both of these cards. And then our entire board gets -1, -0. Man, yeah, these last 2 games have been really disappointing, because they're the kind of stuff that just these controlling decks that need to stabilize and flip the game, so you need to be curving out really, really well, so every stumble is just felt twice as hard, and we have really stumbled these 2 games. I have to chump now. Because, I mean, these 2 alone is 10 damage if they just surveil and choose to mill each time. 6 damage. I don't have the haste land here. And I'm at 3, so it doesn't matter. I'm dead. I can play 1 blocker, chump, 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 take 1. If I attack with literally anybody, I just die. Well, shoot. Or if they have any removal spell, I just die. Disappointing last couple of games. Brutal to hit the same deck pretty much each time, too. Get out-grinded by the control deck, because we just could not curve out as efficiently as possible. We had some stumbles each time for different reasons each game, and that drags us down to 2 and 3. I think this deck was pretty strong, pretty fun. Just some rough matchups, some rough draws. Our first loss was a double mulligan, our last loss was a mulligan, and there were stumbles on the curve in all 3 of those losses. So, yeah, some awkward mana draws. I'm very unimpressed by the villages because of the, especially when you have like double red non-creature spells, but because these only cast for creatures, they only tap for creatures, the mana costs of them can be pretty heavy. But we are as close to a 50-50 split as possible, and we were still just not hitting the right colors, and again, a lot of those mulligans. And we're also a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 2-drop deck, and we missed curve outs quite a few times as well today. Yeah, I don't think this deck's incredible. It's certainly got filler, like the paw patch formations, the playful shoves in the wrong matchup, you know, these random squirrels in here. They do make the forager a little better, but generally would be better to have just more beefy, aggressive raccoons and stuff. But I think the deck's still better than a 2-3 on average. We just saw the lower end of the spectrum for it. Some of the worse hands and draws you can hit, some of the lower end of the spectrum there. Especially, you know, the 4-land Season of the Bold, that's the biggest underperformer for that line alone. But yeah, overall, still like the archetype a lot. Seems pretty fun. Just play a bunch of big beefy green creatures and a bunch of great cheap red removal and stuff. Get a bunch of damage in. Does not seem terrible. Doesn't seem like one of the stronger decks, but certainly seems a little better than how it played out for us here today. But that is going to do it for this draft, and that is going to do it for the early access to event tomorrow. I'm just going to be playing full-on actual regular Bloomburrow drafts with the rest of you on Arena. I think by the time this gets uploaded, Bloomburrow's live, so you can go play drafts yourself. It's a very sweet set. I have really enjoyed my time so far. I love most of the archetypes. The artwork is absolutely adorable. The archetypes are super cute, and it's really cool that every creature type has its own mechanical identity outside of just, you know, buffing all of your raccoons and buffing all of your squirrels and stuff. It's like, no, they also do their own unique stuff, like the frogs bouncing around, the raccoons spending 4 or more mana, the mice targeting each other for valiant triggers. It's been very, very interesting, and I'm a big fan of it. Seems like a breath of fresh air after multiple months of Modern Horizons now. I'm ready for the new set, and it looks like a sweet one. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe, and if you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.